I'm Jim McLennan. Welcome to our latest course, the all-court game. And there's a story here that parallels somewhat my arc as a player. Years ago in California, it was called the all-court forcing game, where there was a lot more offensive intent moving forward. But as the game has changed with the rackets and the style of play, you see many more ground strokes, much more neutral tennis. And it really feels to me that what it speaks to now is it's now about all-court tennis, about offense and about defense, but more about me. After playing in college, I hooked up with this guy, Tom Stowe, and he so changed my tennis by having total and complete emphasis on my balance and my posture, more than anyone had ever done. And I was pretty good anyway, but my game improved by magnitudes. And now as a teacher, I really believe in this concept of what I would call first things first. Before you ever approach any aspect of your game, you have to know, are you on balance? Are you in rhythm? And can you find effortless action? We can see that with Novak Djokovic. We can see that with players I coach. And I think if you have the eyes to see this and the willingness to try and work on it, your game will just improve beyond anything you'd expect. Stay with me. Balance and vertical posture. And bear with me here, this is going to be an unusual explanation. I did a lot of filming with Djokovic earlier in the year when he was practicing in Palm Springs. And it was stunning to see how straight his back was when practicing. And I watched a lot of players on other courts, some Americans, a number of others, and it fascinated me how inattentive they were to posture and balance. So now, this gets a little deep. There's a wonderful book called Batting Basics by John White, and he uses examples from gyroscopic stability, and he pulls out the word called precession, so that if a spinning top is spinning and the axis stays vertical, the spinning top keeps its speed and doesn't move much around the table. But the moment the axis gets off vertical, it starts to wobble. That's called precession. But the point is this, if you're playing a rotational game of tennis, which is the modern game, and your back is not vertical, you are by definition wobbling. And if you're wobbling, two things happen. With a spinning top, it loses its speed sooner, or said another way, you can't generate as much rotational speed. But here's the key. If you're wobbling, your radar is on top of this, your eyes and your head, so by definition, your head is moving. Now, it's not my position to criticize, but at least I can observe. The best return to serve in the game is Djokovic. And if you study him, he does not wobble, and that allows him to see the ball better than others. And Federer just beat a guy last week in Cincinnati who, to my eye, clearly wobbles. And even I'm trying to send some of these people postural material, but what happens is, if you haven't addressed keeping your back dead straight when you're trying to generate racket speed, you've got problems mechanically. You have problems mechanically. And I think as you watch players at your club or on a private court, next door neighbor, notice who's got good balance and who doesn't. You can spot it a mile away. And at our spot, the best players we ever had, a couple of guys from Cal and Stanford, not me, I was close, you could see it in the warm-up that there was nothing going on because there was nothing extraneous. Balance, vertical posture, play with a spinning top. I have one. Tennis is about a spinning top, and when you watch on TV, you'll see the best players spin dead vertical and everybody else wobbles. You want to be a wobbler? I hope not. We'll do a drill on a backhand with a drop hit and then a tossed ball. And my comments, and hopefully the camera's going to pick up whether he can keep his back absolutely straight and vertical, so that there's no tipping involved, such that when you're rotating to hit the ball, the more vertical you are, the more easily that machine spins. So stand like we're going to do some drop hit backhands. Put your weight on the back foot. And I could straighten you more. And you could sink more. And that's how it looks in the pros. The best ones. So now let's observe whether he wobbles when he hits or whether he can turn in sort of a tight circle. Pretty good. I could probably do better once, but that's another story. There you go. This is really tricky. You want your hips beneath you always. And, you know, you could say, what the heck are you doing with all these details? But it is true that the absolute best players bring a level of balance and awareness to the game that hardly anyone else does. And I swear Tom Stowe used to touch me this just same. It was weird how light it was, but he just wanted me up. Now, can you go in the ready position and get into a balanced vertical turn? Pretty good. Pretty good, man. Jeez. And this guy's got a very good return to serve. Again. Balance, balance, balance. That's pretty good.
This is Novak Djokovic from the rear, and I think it's a very good example of many of the elements I learned from Tom Stowe about balance and posture and sort of how to get your body involved in a shot. And what we're going to see here is a forehand, a backhand, and then a forehand. In some instances jumping, partly to elevate the point of contact. But I think we're going to see the same basic principles that you see when I'm tossing balls to the kid. And I think hopefully what will be instructive is how straight his back is and how when he rotates into the ball, he's not wobbling, but spinning in almost a perfect vertical arc. So let's start the play here. He's going to step around on the backhand side, weight on the back foot. Let's freeze it at impact. Stop it. And as he's going to finish the stroke, that's really good posture. The right hip is coming through, the right foot is not coming through, and as we run it again, you'll see that the racket will just keep finishing all the energy he's gotten from his body into his racket. Okay, now as we keep playing, he's going to recover. What's interesting is he was inside the baseline and he's retreating, and he may change that at some point in his game. And now we're going to take a look at the backhand. The weight goes to the back foot. Let's stop it right about now. And that's a classic moment where the weight is on the back foot. If you'd like a term for this, it's back and back. The back is very straight. And as he strokes through, I think we'll notice that his head moves little, if at all. So we could run it again. Stepping in. Thank you, Novak. Rotating through the ball. Okay, recovering. Still playing a little bit behind the baseline. If he penetrated, we'll see him move forward. I can't tell if he penetrated. Turn to the side, forehand, weight on the back foot, moving forward, moving forward, moving forward. Let's stop it about there. He's in a good coil, legs are involved. He's leaning over a little. I can live with that. Now let's play it. And he's going to pull a Rafa on us. Watch this. Everybody uses that stroke, and that's behind the head. Leave it there a moment. And what interests me is that I saw Arthur Ashe do that in the 1976 finals at Wimbledon, but I didn't notice it when I watched it live, but I've seen it in replay. And I think that this reverse forehand isn't as modern as we might think. Many of the players are doing it. But in my mind, if you look at that again, let's go backwards and now through. Look at all the shoulder rotation. This is a rotational ground stroke.